Okay, let's get started. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's webinar between Guuppa and INDUTRAX. I hope everybody on the other line is safe and sound. As you can tell from the headline, today is about improving the manufacturing process using the location and identification system from INDUTRAX, which is also powered by Guuppa. My name is Thorsten Amstein. I'm the sales manager for Central Europe at Guuppa, and I'm very pleased to welcome Terence Phoebe, who is the CEO of INDUTRAX, as well as Nikolai Karl, who is the product manager of INDUTRAX. So a little bit about today's agenda. Terence Phoebe will introduce INDUTRAX, then I will cover a little bit the role of Guuppa within this construct, and then I will hand over to Nikolai Karl, who will introduce the INDUTRAX application and also talk a little bit about the manufacturing use case which they serve with the platform. In the end, we will have a short Q&A session, and please everybody feel free to write down your questions using the comment box within the GoToWebinar control panel that you're seeing, and we will try to cover all of those questions by the end of the webinar. There's also no need to take any screenshots of the slides. We will record this webinar and then share it with everybody who is registered later on. So without any more delay, please welcome Terence Phoebe, CEO of INDUTRAX. Terence.
Thank you, Thorsten, for the introduction and organizing this webinar with us, and welcome to you all from INDUTRAX. I'd like to give you a short introduction to INDUTRAX and talk about what we have to offer. Our focus is the digital factory and addressing the needs of manufacturing and logistics companies on the shop floor. We're based in Germany, and at the moment we're active in the European region primarily. People at INDUTRAX have been doing location and identification projects now for about 15 years, mainly at large customers in manufacturing. With the technical advances that have taken place over the last 5 years, location has now become affordable for a number of use cases that we experience both in large companies, but also in medium-sized companies. So the whole market possibilities have opened up. We've built software to address these use cases. So if we look at the manufacturing and logistics markets, there is a lot of pressure to digitize the processes. And the current IT systems installed at the moment, that we've seen anyway, do not handle moving objects very well. So the status of orders and assets on the shop floor is generally not known. That results in search times and maybe inefficient processes. There's too much paper and unreliable manual input. And we believe that with location identification systems, we can improve these processes, and that results in better efficiency, flexibility, all the things that people want. We've developed some software to do that based on our experience, and not only software but applications, so finished solutions that can be delivered to the customers. And our software will take input from any combination of location system, identification system, shop floor devices, and it integrates with whatever's out there in terms of existing ERP and MES solutions. The technical range of offerings is quite large and quite confusing. So we try and help out in identifying, based on the requirements of the customers, what's the best combination of technologies to use to solve problems, while at the same time recognizing that there is no time and no money for bespoke projects. So it's the plan is to get a finished solution in place. As I said, our focus is the manufacturing logistics industries, who are also suffering from a people problem that we often hear, either because experienced employees are leaving and retiring, and also because it's quite hard nowadays to find new people with the corresponding expertise. So there's also a big drive to change the way things are handled on the shop floor and improve the processes. We have basically two areas where we can make an improvement. The first is the overall area of automation. If you look at the bottom of this picture, you see a schematic view of what actually is taking place in many manufacturing companies. In other words, the process, and that builds the reality of what's going on. And in order to provide automation for some of those processes, it's of course necessary to experience in some sort of digital model exactly what's happening at the moment in real time. So obviously we're using location identification to gather the data, and our software will turn that into events which are of significance in terms of then updating the digital model in real time, and then resulting in the ability to then automate certain processes on the shop floor. This digital model is, if it's possible, if there's already an existing, for instance, an MES installed, then that could be the digital model. If not, then we can provide that model ourselves. The important thing is that it's able to react in real time. And what it can do is, of course, provide action based on a set of rules to, manage the transparency of what's going on with orders and assets, to support workers, to provide information on mobile devices, which could be tablets, they could be electronic labels attached to containers, and maybe even to actually activate devices on the shop floor, like a stack light or something like that. The other area where we can provide some level of support is the area of continuous improvement. The reality is built up at the bottom of this picture, just the same as it was on the last slide. And of course, we're gathering the data through location identification systems. In this case, we're storing the data away in the digital model. So there's a whole track of the events that have taken place, what we call significant positions. That's, if you like, the important positions that different objects have taken up during a period of time. The dwell times they've spent in processes, any kind of time-based events are stored away. They can then be provided as reports. They can be provided in terms of some level of analysis that will lead hopefully to some improvement in those processes. They can also, these significant positions can be used to discover processes, so help in understanding how the processes are taking place on the shop floor today, and moving on to what's called predictive analytics, which is some direction in terms of using artificial intelligence to then modify processes on the fly and improve them without human intervention. The way we operate, we are constantly looking at the marketplace in terms of technologies coming up that are relevant for the shop floor, be they in location or identification, or indeed devices that are becoming available. And we take those systems into our test factory and evaluate them. And the ones we like, we integrate into our software. And the software, really, you can imagine it as a set of building blocks. Nico's going to talk about that in more detail in a minute. And we use those building blocks to create finished applications to deliver to the customer. We then, in terms of interacting with customers, we do some level of pilot initially that's configuring the application for the specific customer environment, checking that everything works out and leads then to the production implementation, where obviously the whole key to that is being able to achieve a certain level of return on investment in a reasonable time. These manufacturing solutions, they require a reliable, flexible, precise and affordable location system. So I'd like to hand over to Torsten, who will tell you about Quuppa and the Quuppa Intelligent Location System.
Thank you very much, Terry, for those insights. So yes, a little bit about the role of Quuppa within the technology, and just a little bit of background information, especially for those in the line who may be fairly new to all this and who haven't heard too much yet about Quuppa itself. Quuppa is a Finnish company by heart. It was founded in 2012 as a spin-off of Nokia Research Center, but the technology itself was already developed now for over a decade, since 2005. Our headquarters is in the capital area in Finland, in the Helsinki area, or more precisely Espoo, for those who may know it. But we also have a global presence in North America, China, Australia, India, the Middle East. We serve over 500 customers via our 170 and more business partner, of which one of them is INDUTRAX. And by now we have over 2,000 systems delivered to 53 countries. And you see a few of the key achievements of 2019 in the bottom of the slide. I just want to highlight a few now here. We work very closely with Bluetooth, the Bluetooth Special Interest Group together, and help you formulating also the latest Bluetooth 5.1 standard. And maybe just to highlight one use case, you see the two ice hockey logos of Liga, which is the first Finnish league, and KHL, which is the first Russian league. We have a Finnish partner called Bitwise that serves those use cases. We have 45 stadiums equipped with Quuppa locators. And I mentioned this because it shows a little bit how robust really the system is. We track here both the players and the puck on the ice in real time. The puck again with more than 160 kilometers per hour speed, which of course has its own challenges, and we track it down to centimeter level accuracy. So this is just a use case to emphasize a little bit on what the technology can do. Okay, then about our location system. As already addressed a little bit in the previous slide, we support heavily Bluetooth low energy technology with our direction finding feature, which is proprietary to Quuppa as well. And in combination with our advanced positioning engines and underlying algorithms, we are capable of computing a very accurate position of any Bluetooth tag, really. And together with this, we offer our partners such as INDUTRAX, our advanced software tools, which help them to plan, test, monitor, and also simulate different types of Quuppa installations. Just briefly on the left side about some of the key features. Again, as already pointed out in the ice hockey use case, it can be very accurate down to centimeter level accuracy. But it's also a very versatile system because we support standard Bluetooth, Bluetooth-enabled sensors. In that sense, it's also a great gateway to IoT and IIoT. It's a very scalable solution serving small installations, large installations with hundreds of thousands of tags and even our Quuppa locators. And we have an open platform, and via API integration, basically, we support our partners to create a meaningful solution for the different industries. This is our go-to-market strategy. We are more a technology provider, and we really rely on strategic partnerships, just like we have with INDUTRAX, to take this coordination of a tag and create a meaningful solution for the different vertical markets. And you see also our two type of locators. The little white round one is our indoor locator. Again, it serves the indoor use cases, but we also have a larger locator with a bigger antenna array, which can be also used in the outdoor use cases. And we have one reference tag that you see there, the black one. This is good for many use cases, but it is also important to note here that we have a really broad ecosystem of tag partners, meaning that they produce tags that are fully Quuppa compatible, act like a native Quuppa tag, which we can consume by our partners such as INDUTRAX for the different use cases, let's say in manufacturing and logistics. So without further ado, I would like to now hand over to Nikolai Karl to introduce a little bit the INDUTRAX application. Nico, please.
Yeah, good morning to everybody. Also from my side. So I will introduce you to the concept of our software. So we, as Terry outlined already, we base on a variety of different source systems, as we call it, location identification technologies. And the Quuppa guys will already know it. They speak about the dot on the map. Yeah, this is what those source systems will deliver. It's the information about the XY, and sometimes a set coordinate, but it doesn't have any meaning when speaking about the area, the zones in the factory. So we need to convert this dot on the map to something meaningful. And the overall goal of this conversion is to get the digital model to respond in real time. So what we are doing in the end is we detect after having associated the tag to an object, whether that object is located in an area, whether objects, two moving objects, interact with each other. And then we can certainly also recall the history of those movements from individual objects. And finally, we can take the information of the object positions and present them on maps. Yeah, so this is, let's say, the essence to get beyond the dot on the map and get the digital model to respond in real time. And with those kind of information, you can implement a variety of use cases. And one of those would be grouped around tracking production orders on the shop floor. And we have created an application that is called PRODUCTTRACKER to support these use cases. So tracking is focused on the production orders, the products, the half-finished products, so work in progress, even parts and components can be tracked, yeah, as well as the transport media that is used to transport all those components that make up the product through the shop floor and the logistics areas. And with knowing where those are, those objects, you can ask questions like, are all those components for the next production order to be produced at the machine are available in the ingoing buffer area? And if not, you can create a high prior transport order for the logistics guy to get the missing part in place to avoid that the machine is stopped. Yeah. Essentially, there are a variety of things that help react in real time, provide transparency about things going on the shop floor, and record flows as an input for future improvements of the planning. So the continuous improvement process. The underlying software that we provide, yeah, is composed of a user interface, all on on browser. So all modern browsers are supported from our end. The engine, the software engine, runs on small devices, but usually on some machine. It can be run in the cloud, but it can also be run on premise, which is in our experience the preferred model in the German Mittelstand, at least. Yeah, but we'll see what the future will bring. The map model is supporting both the global use cases, yeah, cross-site use cases. Well, we have this multi-site capable, the software. We're using the OpenStreetMaps as a background information, and we import customer-specific background models, yeah, that show the indoor areas of the shop floors. It's easy configurable. Yeah, we try to implement as much as possible low-code programming principles like visual programming using drag and drop. Here we have an example with the Blockly approach. So the key users of the customers can make up their own rules and can modify the behavior of the applications. And finally, there's a set of reports, predefined reports that help understand the flows of the production orders. So, and as I'm in the location test factory, I'm going to show you a sneak overview of what the application looks like live. So I'm going to preset my webcam, and you should see also my screen. So if you see both the video as well as the screen, you should have a line in the middle that allows you to adapt the size of the windows. I'm sitting where they slightly north to the test area. Okay, now I've got the message that I can start to transfer the screen. So now you should see the screen.
Yes.
Okay, great. So I'm sitting slightly north to the test area at the right bottom end of our test factory, and I'm having a phone in my hand, yeah, that is equipped with an emulating tag application such that the Quuppa locating system can track the phone. Yeah, and I'm going to show you around our test factory. So you get a slight impression. You can follow me while I'm moving around. So what we see here is also the Quuppa locator mounted on the ceiling. Yeah, and we have here a couple of workstations to mock up an industrial environment. We have a couple of metallic objects, such that we can simulate the blocking effects of machines, etc. And here at the workplace, we do have a couple of small load carriers equipped with e-labels that show the content of production orders, and they are also trackable as they are equipped with location tags. Here are some large load carriers that can be tracked also cross-site, and a brief view in our logistics area where we have the goods received area and a small warehouse with a single rack. Yeah, but at least that allows us to show a lot of use cases demonstrating the mix of different technologies. Here to the wall, you can see also the gateway required to send data to the e-labels. And gonna take here an example. This is a production order equipped, and you should see how it follows me as I put it then into the assembly area, just to have an information about this. And yeah, this is just, let's say, a short introduction here. When you want to see more and the situation with Corona changes, you're happily invited to visit us here. So if I go back to the slides, then I will show you some insights of the solution that we implemented at a customer using PRODUCTTRACKER and Guuppa.
Yeah, the slides are back on, Nico. You can continue.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, so the customer is a customer in the high-tech industries that produces special parts, special metal parts that are consumed in machines, especially for the semiconductors or for medicine technologies. And they produce build to order in low order quantities up to the lot size 1. And they have a high product mix. So more than 4,000 product variants have been produced so far, and currently more than 1,000 are produced. Yeah, so this means there is a highly dynamic production process involving essentially a production sequence tailored to each individual production order. Yeah, so highly complex. Yeah, involving milling, turning, bending, laser cutting, assembly, and quality assurance. Yeah. So the challenges, as you can imagine, is to get hold of the visibility on status, on whereabouts of the production orders, so provide transparency across multiple facilities. Yeah, they're producing in 2 different factories, and they have a separate warehouse, and they are producing up to 1,500 production orders simultaneously. Adhering to customer delivery dates in quality is key. And then the conformance to the defined production plan. As already mentioned, essentially every production order has a different plan, different sequence. So it is easy to mix up things. And finally, the 7 movers should be identified, the 7 wastes of manufacturing, to restrict the non-value add times during the process of production orders. I'm not going to go into detail of those. Yeah, the solution is based around location tracking, as you might have guessed. Yeah, we deployed the Guuppa locators across the manufacturing areas in a high density to support precise tracking. And the order of magnitude that is sufficient for the use case is about 1 meter, 95% confidence level. Yeah, and it's a challenging environment. So we deployed also our own location filters to make sure that this confidence level is reached. In the test and logistics areas, it is not required to have a 1 meter precise knowledge of where production orders are. So it's sufficient to provide a loose coverage. Yes, and then just tell that a production order is in a room or in a specific area. So we call that presence detection. And below you can see the numbers of the investment. So 10,000 square meters covered with precise locations are roughly €5 per square meter, and 12,000 square meters with presence detection is less than €1 per square meter. Yeah, it makes a significant difference in terms of numbers, and that is the strength of our software, that we can cope with both those scenarios. During the process of a production order, now a location tag follows the paper, the accompanying paperwork of the production order. And that is because so many different load carriers are used that we couldn't come up with a solution to permanently fix tags to the load carriers. Hence, the manual process, apply the tag into let's say a plastic bag that the sheet sits in, associating the tag to the production order, and then the combination goes off. 1,500 tags are available for use. Yeah, and they are recycled at the end of the production process. They are disassociated and then available for the next process. So the application product tracker addresses first the challenge by combining the ERP information, so the master data, by loading the relevant production order, the released production orders from the system automatically, verifying that tag location data that is delivered by Quuppa is correct, and then combining those two pieces of information to get a location-aware production order. And then you get the ability to follow the production order on the shop floor. The product tracker application provides the option to draw zones on the map that are then giving some meaning in terms of process step, what happens there in this zone. And as we follow the movements of the production order, we can determine whether the production orders are in a buffer zone or in a process zone or even outside of any zone. And with the knowledge what the meaning is in the zone, what happens in the zone, and the configuration tells whether this is a non-value-add activity or value-add activity, we can simply determine the dwell times. Yeah, so that is the key KPI in providing transparency of manufacturing processes, knowing the dwell times of the production orders in the individual steps and find out the non-value-add activities times and the value-add activity times. And then we can react in real time. For example, when some order sits too long in a process step, the responsible team leader can be informed instantly and can go and look what happens. Yeah, or if a production order missed one process step that it should have gone through, again, this indicates a potential quality issue. He will be informed instantly. And all the information is certainly also provided on the map and recorded in the history. And that, again, is the baseline for continuous improvements. So as a result, the customer got instant view of the situation on the shop floor. So like a production dashboard, he knew exactly how many orders were started each day, the average number of movements from one activity to the next per day, and that gave them along with the events, the improvement in quality and process improvement, because they could react faster, they could fix early problems, they could avoid reprocessing, and the key goal was to ensure the customer delivery dates. Yeah, so that is roughly a 5% increase. And in terms of process improvement, yeah, I've already mentioned the over-processing piece. Also, through the knowledge about location data, the planning defined planning could be adjusted to reduce idle times and also to reduce the search times, certainly. And that gives them a rough number of 15% improvement of the processes. So just to reiterate, the software product that we're offering is around applications. So application templates that come out of the box, easy configurable, easy to integrate into existing enterprise systems and shop floor systems. We do have a comprehensive understanding of different location technologies, so we can recommend the best choice. We are vendor independent, but certainly we think that Guuppa is a good system. That's the reason why we work with Guuppa. An understanding of the manufacturing processes, systems, and shop floor environment is something that we deal with more than 10 or 15 years, and we know how to build solutions using location-aware concepts. And last, I want to highlight that we are focusing on a partner-based business model. So we have a special niche knowledge about manufacturing processes in discrete manufacturing, but essentially we're open. We're looking for value-add resellers that would take our software offering and create their own applications so they can be distributed to their customers. I hope this is something that is attractive, an attractive offering, and I would hand over to Torsten for the Q&A session, I think.
Thank you very much, Nico. This was very insightful. For everybody on the line, I hope you still have another 5 to 10 minutes for our short Q&A session. There was quite a high interest here, it seems, so there are a couple of questions you would like to address. If we don't manage to go through all of them, we will make sure, of course, to reach out back to you after this webinar. But just to get started, and perhaps I even can answer this one because it's regarding the tags. Do we support Williard tags, and is there a tag limit that can be used? Regarding Williard, they're dear friends of us, and we are in contact with them. If you have an emergent need for maintenance-free tags, there's an alternative solution called Anything. It's a German-based company. I know that INDUTRAX also has Anything tags in their demonstration factory. A little bit about the tag ecosystem that is powered by Quuppa. We have a so-called certification process. Anything, for example, is undergoing this process now. They're not fully approved yet, but this is on the roadmap. So if you seek maintenance-free tags, this could be a great alternative, also because they are working closely together with INDUTRAX. Regarding the limit of tags, there is no such limit. Again, the amount of tags, or to be more precise, the amount of packages they actually send through determines really the server size. And then basically you have, as a company, you have to make an educated decision of what server you use for the amount of tags and packages you receive. So this was about the tags. Maybe then another one for INDUTRAX now. There's a question, does INDUTRAX deliver just the software or a complete solution? And I guess here is meant our software, hardware, the tags. Terry or Nico to answer this.
Yeah, we are open to offer both the let's say software only, which is the model then along with a partner, but for customers that fit in our region and our market, we will deliver the complete solution, including hardware design and deploying the project, and also we have a support team that runs the application long term, along with the customer.
Okay, great. Then we had one question regarding the how you work with partners, but I think you covered this already well, and that you're open for any types of partnerships. We have also some question regarding digital e-labels. Basically, what does the customer need paperwork for if everything can be digitized?
I think for the e-label, there is the, let's say, the radio bit. So the data needs to be transmitted over air to the e-labels. So a gateway infrastructure is required. But the e-label gateways, there are covering, let's say, let's say in between 60 and 80 meters diameter around, or radius around the gateway. The application is providing all the necessary support to get the data dynamically down to the e-labels. So whenever a zone is entered, the content of the e-label can be changed, or when let's say a temperature exceeds a specific threshold, also that information can be provided on the e-label. So our application supports all of that.
Okay, thank you. Then another question regarding the size of the deployment. How many locators do you need to cover about 10,000 square meters? So I know the answer depends, but maybe you can open this up a little bit, Nico.
Yeah, the answer depends exactly. Yeah, you know perfectly well that the ceiling height is a key parameter, and then the number of blocking objects in the area. Yeah, so the more machines which are composed of metal in most cases, which can have heights up to 3 or 4 meters, are in the area, the more locators are required. So I would say this is really something where we have to look at the figures provided by a customer to give some guidance. It's in an office environment where the ceiling is quite low, the square meter covered per locator is very low, and in open, let's say, logistics, block logistics, it can be quite high. The square meters covered by a locator, up to 200 square meters or 250 square meters per locator.
Okay, thank you, Nico. Thank you, Terry. I think we are basically through this webinar now. For the audience, if you have an interest to reach out to us directly at Quuppa, please do so via marketing@quuppa.com, and please also make sure to visit our webpage at quuppa.com. And please do the same if you have an interest to reach out to INDUTRAX at sales@indutrax.net. And please also visit their webpage at indutrax.net for further information. Again, Terence and Nico, this was a pleasure talking to you, having you as a guest. I hope the audience enjoyed it. I hope that everybody stays healthy and safe and sound. And until the next time, thank you, everybody.
Thanks very much.